What's up, my good blobs? Today we are continuing the MPCNC build. After they have taken a break, I'm back, relaxed, fully, nicely rested. It's good to be back building this thing. So yes, we've got it mechanically basically set up. We've got this thing like totally done. It doesn't move on its own because it has no electronics in it, but that's what we are going to do. Yes, and I did see that I did have the stream date scheduled for tomorrow. But thankfully you can change that up to the last minute. So yes, today we are streaming about wiring this thing up. I've actually done some stuff while you guys were gone because I wanted to be prepared. So what I did while you were gone is I picked out some motor cabling. This is like 1.50 or 1.20 long. Actually, if it goes down to the floor, yeah, it's more like 1.50 yeah, this stuff can go on the two motors on the ends that already have, or that have the connectors on it. And the other two are getting a bit of a custom solution. We'll get to that once we need to. Yeah, so motor cabling, I've already routed one cable through here. You can see that's pulling out the other side. That just comes out that side and goes in the other, right there. And yeah, as you can see, I've moved the B camera behind me because last time it was like right there and it was just super like inconvenient for me to use. Something was always blocked. So yeah, that's there. Motor cables, yeah, and I also soldered up some custom splitter cables for the, well, for either the X or Y. These are just two male DuPont connectors and one female. So this side's going to plug into the board, and then this side is going to go to the two motors. I will be using so I've made 4 of these. For the 4 stepper connectors, or stepper phases, cables, leads. I've made 4 of these because the Duet Wi-Fi already has 1 of them split. So that's great. We're going to be using that or it has 1 split output. So we're going to be using that for 1 axis, and then this custom splitter cable for the other. I'm not sure if the Duet Wi-Fi actually has the motors internally for, I'm talking about the Z-axis ones, has that routed in series or in parallel, but I mean, either way should be all right. So for electronics mounting, is it too quiet or are you just deaf? We're at -10 or something. -12, turn up your speakers if I'm too quiet. But it does give me some headroom for louder noise. So what I've thought about doing with it's parallel series. Okay, so yes, the question about series versus parallel. So that's this is parallel for the motors. I'm thinking I'll use that for the Y-axis motors. These are like lower current ones. But I'm running the Duet off of 12 volts. I didn't find, so I've got this 12 volt 5 amp supply. I didn't find a 24 volt supply that I could use. I still need to order one of those. If you're using a 24 volt, definitely route them in series. But in my case, I'm thinking because I'm running 12 volt, it might be smarter to run them in parallel. And the Duet Wi-Fi does have like 2.4 amp drivers, so I can crank those up pretty far. I'm not sure if they actually need a heatsink at that point, but I can supply quite a bit of current. All right, too quiet. The thing is, I've not changed anything with the audio levels. It's the same volume as always, and it should be audible even on a phone speaker. Cool. Thank you, mods, for doing your job. Part-time Ronin, awesome to have you here. All right, cool. The mods are not here yet, the mods are. Awesome. All right, so what I was going to do with the electronics. So this is actually a cutoff from the previous base, and you can see how much shorter that would have been. So this is at 60 centimeters, and yeah, there's still a lot more bed there. So this machine would have been a lot smaller. And yeah, so I did cut off a 14 centimeter piece, so that was just happened to be the width of my sled, or of my what's called straight edge carrier thing for the
Please, Tom, don't use those crap-load bond cables. They break easily, and a very thin iron conductor only can carry 100 milliamperes.
I'll get to that in a second. Let me finish here first. So that was just the width of my track. That's the word, the track of my circular saw. And it fits perfectly because it clears the bearing right there. So that can still run freely. And yeah, it does keep the swarf shavings and stuff that might kick up. It keeps it from actually ending up in the power supply, which would be bad, or in the electronics. So that's great. We can't hear the super chats. You should be able to hear these super chats. You should be able to hear it. I mean, I can crank it up further, but that's probably just going to be way too loud. So, yes, thank you for the $5, Eric R. Don't use those crappy DuPont cables. They break easily and are very thin copper iron conductor. So these I checked. These are these splitters here, I guess you're talking about. These are, come on, these are copper. I'm hoping I have a magnet here somewhere to check. But I believe that these are actually copper. So they can carry some amperage. They're not super duper great. I know. If you have another option to use these, definitely go for something else. But that's just what I have. They might heat up a bit, but yeah. I mean, just in general, there are a lot of things that I could do super differently in this build. I could use drag chains. I could do a better job with these zip ties on the belts, all that. But for now, I first and foremost want to get this machine running and cutting. And issues like the connectors or the cables not being strong enough, those I can always upgrade and fix later, like this stuff. But for now, I'm going to use what I have. Use a breadboard. I mean, that's going to be even worse, right? Cool. So this thing goes there just as a shield. Now, I think it should be spacious enough, yeah, for cable routing, actually. So these on the y-axis, front and back, these will go. I won't be feeding any of these through the tubing. I'll just have them hanging off the front and the side because they are long enough as is. But as soon as I start feeding it through the tube, I need to extend these stepper cables. And the longer you have your stepper cables, the more power loss you have, the more electromagnetic interference you have. It's just, these are long enough as is. All right. Yes, it's 12 volt for now, but you should be using 24. I have a 12 volt supply here. You should be using a 24 volt one if you can. I don't think the Duet is safe for using with the 48 volt supply from the spindle. But I mean, the more voltage, the better if your board can handle it. It just gives these stepper drivers an easier time to push the motors. Especially if you have low current motors that have more inductance and more resistance, so you need that extra pushing force, metaphorically speaking, from the extra voltage. So first things first, yeah, this should be big enough for the power supply, the motor driver. Maybe I'll even stick the potentiometer on there somewhere. But first I need to grab the Duet out from my Mendel 9000. Who was it? Phil Struder have actually offered to send me a second Duet Wi-Fi. I'll have to check with the guys from Duets themselves because they've also offered to send another one. But for now, I will be taking this one out of my machine that I had configured. I've already unplugged everything. I mean, it feels really bad. Let's put it like that. It feels really bad to take a board out of a perfectly working machine, but we do have to get this project done. So I just had this screwed in with wood screws and spacers into, where did that last spacer go? Oh, we just need 3 spacers, right? Oh no, I just lost the screw, not the spacer. Cool. I just had that screwed in with wood screws and spacers into the wooden frame, plywood frame of that Mendel 9000. And I'll be using the exact same thing on this setup right here. So let me move this a bit further forward. I'm hoping OBS isn't going to crash. It was really crash happy today. Let's do it like that. Oh yeah, there's you guys. Hi. So now the Duet Wi-Fi obviously comes with a whole bunch of stuff that we are never going to use. So it has a really massive heated, is that the heated bed output? Power in, yes. So it has a really massive heated bed output. It has 5 drivers, of which we're going to use 3. I'm not sure if you can actually run them redundantly, so that, you know, you run 2 drivers for the x-axis and 2 for the y-axis. I'm sure it's possible, but the configuration option I don't think is giving you, or the web config tool isn't giving you that option. I do need to insert the SD card. 32-bit, obviously overkill, but yeah. Right, so spacers go on. So it's just like small printed spacers. And then this guy can go there, I guess. So we have like the motor cables resting on the bottom there. Looks good. Let's plop the first one in. Oh, let's actually you know what, before we start screwing that down, let's anchor that plate to the side frame. Would it be a good idea to put the drivers right next to the motors and just run the signal and power longer? Yes, if you're worried about interference, that definitely is a very good option. In fact, I think BCN3D are doing that. So BCN3D have, actually the printer is right back there. Back there, that's the Sigma. That has little daughter boards next to its motors that just get supply voltage and step direction, so you don't run the signals or the switched output for the stepper drivers through, you know, cables that are actually way too long. So yes, that is a good idea, but it requires some extra effort to do, because I mean, obviously these drivers are just fixed in place in the on the main board. Good afternoon, Fox and Burly. Good to have you back. Fix the board first and then the wooden board. I need to pre-drill this stuff anyways. So there, roughly there. Hello from France, hello back to France. Hello neighbor. So I want to roughly center this, but obviously it doesn't have to be perfect. Hello from the UK, hello back to the UK. Not quite neighbors, there's a bit of a water gap between us. There you go. I mean, this is going to be sturdy enough to mount the board, obviously. Who's watching? Okay, we got Wales, we got Canada, we've got Finland, Washington, Spain, more US, California, Romania, Michigan, Netherlands, Austria. I guess it makes sense because I'm streaming from well, CEST, Central European Time. So at this time of day, probably, you know, that's the people that are going to be awake and watching, right? But Texas, Florida, Colorado, apparently Apparently the US is already up as well. All right, so I'm guessing that's going to work like so. And I do need the other bit. Michigan, 10 a.m. Italy, yeah, I'm seeing a lot of people from Europe, which obviously makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah, I do have, God, Preston, when are you getting that video edited? I do have that DAC board set up on the wall now. That is just always displaying my calendar and world time and weather and all that. Just waiting for that to get edited. But Preston is having some tech issues. And I do have the world time for both US coasts there. And it's always amazing how far those actually are apart time-wise. Because like, what is it, 3 hours? 4 hours or something? It's quite a lot. I've always thought like, you know, US, like it's all just one big thing, right? But it's so large. Shouldn't you do that on a flat surface? On what flat surface? By the way, not an impact driver, that is just the torque clutch. All right, and there is a Duet Wi-Fi mounted. These two screws need a bit more love. There we go. Okay, now the SD card is actually over here. Cool, and I've already updated the Wi-Fi info on that, so we don't have to go through the whole setup because that's kind of a pain or kind of time consuming. If you've never hooked this board up to your Wi-Fi, you just get nothing. You have no way of accessing it other than a serial terminal. So let me know, guys, are you hearing this this upcoming super chat, the text to speech? Because you can see it in the background there already, but it's not playing through Streamlabs yet. Go on Streamlabs, play it. There you go. I'm muting my mic. Oh, it is actually. Why is that not coming through? Oh, I know why. Oh, but I don't actually want to click that because I don't want to crash OBS. So, thank you for the $5, Jamie, and thanks for that audio test. Yeah, like I said last time, I'm not gonna have a Starbucks coffee. I'm gonna have like a real coffee. Sorry, Starbucks fans. But yeah, thanks for the $5. Much appreciated. Yeah, very faint. So apparently all that's happening is the TV is playing the notification, and then my mic picks it up, and then you guys hear it. So yeah. Bob T. Builder is asking, how does it all work? I'm just noticing this these two cables. Actually, I guess I should show you that. So I've got these two. So these are the X-axis motors. These two have the blue and red flipped, which means if I just hook them up like that in parallel, the entire thing is going to run backwards. Now I'm thinking, if I remember correctly, if I just flip the entire connector, then it will reverse the motor direction as well. So that I think should work, right? I guess. And then these older motors that I have just have more of the DuPont connectors, which are actually rated for 2 amps. Like you just, with the proper cabling, these can handle 2 amps. So I did plug these into the Z-axis connector on the Duet. Like these are totally the wrong types of connectors. These are different connectors, but they're all 2.54 millimeter spacing, and the pin size is similar enough that you can use DuPonts, and you can also use these JST connectors. So they all work. Technically, I think JST have slightly smaller pins, but these totally do work. I would just recrimp all that. I've already crimped too many DuPont connectors. I hate that process because it's just so fiddly and it's so hard to get perfect. I'm going to avoid crimping where I can. And just to keep these from getting into the belt, because this might be rubbing on the belt right there. I'm thinking these holes are meant for like cable management and stuff, but I'm going to use them for that. It looks like they're meant to do that. Come on. And yes, for whoever said I should be putting some like, yeah, there's still a sharp, what's it called? Sharp edge on this tubing, but because it's zip tied in place, the cabling actually just runs through the center and it's never going to catch or touch the edge of that tubing. So this is good. I'm going to do the same zip tie on the other end. Cool, and that gives me some space to actually run the, oh, I shouldn't, oh, it's plugged in. I should be a bit careful with this. So this actually just gives me the opportunity to run the entire length without getting the cables snagged anyway. I'm hoping at least. Yeah, we can move until the spindle hits over here. So that's good. Panel Duet does work on Duet Wi-Fi. Actually, I do have a Panel Duet. I just need to plug that in and configure it for it, but I do have one. It's a pretty amazing thing. All right, so that's one. Now, again, I will try these. I can probably pick them up with a magnet. We'll see. We'll see. If they overheat, they overheat. If they die, they die. Right. So next up, we need these splitters. So there's one, there's two. And I mean, I could have soldered these up to be in series. Well, actually, you don't need to solder anything. You can just use jumper cables, proper ones. But all I'm going to do with this is connect the black to black, and then the green to green, and so on and so forth. There's our black. I've got all the wrong colors here, but that's the jumpers I had. Green to orange, but we can always check what the order should be. I know, this is kind of janky, but it will do. Now, again, the optimal solution is to just wire them in series. But with a 12-volt power supply, I don't think that would give us much of an advantage, or if any, over running them in parallel. And with the Duet, it does have. With the Duet, we do have quite a bit of current. So yeah, the fluid head tripod. Actually, again, you can find all the gear that I'm using on tomstudio.org/mygear, but the Panasonic stabilization is actually doing a lot as well. So let me think. This isn't, oh yeah, this is labeled with a very, very small font right in there. You can probably barely read that. So that is E1, it's upside down. E0, Xmod, and Ymod. So I shall use Ymod for the x-axis. Haha, no. I'm actually going to use X for X, Z for Y, and then Y for Z. Somebody remember that, because I'm sure I'll forget again. That, and then purple. So really the only time where the order of these connectors matters is keeping the two phases together. But between them, you can swap these two, or you can swap the other two, or you can swap the entire thing around. Just switches, every time you do that, it just switches the rotational direction of your motor. So that's good. Then we have the Z-axis. Let me see if I have a cable that is long enough for that, or can we? No, we cannot. Let me see, because this is going to need some length, I think. Yeah, so this is a bit too short. What's the cost of all of it, roughly? About 500, but I believe the about 500 figure does not include the spindle. So the spindle is another, like roughly I think 100 to 120 bucks, depending on which kit, which version you get. Who is that? That is too short. That is definitely too short. So more DuPonts, unfortunately. Are we expecting first movement today? Yes, we are definitely going for first movement today. I'm not stopping before we get that. But we are not doing any first cuts, so don't get your hopes up. But setting up cam and trying to get this machine figured out, that's probably going to take a bit longer, but for now, firmware setup and yeah, and the wiring. So there's that. That's also again, by the way, not super good. So that's more of the jumper cables, male to male, and then another motor connector. We'll see how well this all works. Duet is 160 bucks in Germany. Is it? There's, I guess, if you import from Think3D, Print3D, then yeah, it does add a bit of cost in shipping and soon imports. But yeah, cable carrier steel banding. Yeah, so I'm thinking like this is kind of loose and in the way that there's no real good way to carry it. What Prusa is doing with the nylon pieces of filament may actually work here as well. Just have one stuck upright in this tubing, so we have like a cable bridge, sort of. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe I'll anchor this to map. It'll be fine during cutting. I'm probably not going to shove this into the ends anyway. Yeah, I can clean up the cables later. That is a good point, Mark. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. Oh, Jamie, sorry. I'm just reading the super chat from Jamie again. Have a non-Starbucks coffee. I'm sorry, I misread that. I'll definitely have a non-Starbucks coffee. All right, so power supply. Duet is in. Next we need the motor controls, which are actually also kind of on the short side, but well, it'll do. Use the tape measure trick for the Z-bridge. That tape measure sounds interesting. So here's the thing. This motor cable is kind of short, so I don't think it actually reaches all the way to the opposite corner. So I'll try to mount this like somewhere further up so that I get like at least a bit extra cable length. And then this stuff, I'll have to see how I mount this, because this is all just loose. This is a panel mount RPM gauge. We have the potentiometer that controls RPM. I think I'm just gonna double-sided tape it somewhere for now. But this one actually, let me see. I guess like so. Yeah, or further over here, because we still need to fit the power supply, which unfortunately does not have any like flat mounting options. It has a ton of tapped holes on the side, but it doesn't have anything where you can mount it flat like that. So Mendel 90 used ribbon cable with a PP printed, with a PP plastic backer, which was not printed, which was just a piece of stock material. That's a good option too, yeah. And it's actually what 2D paper printers are using. So those that, well, we could do it like that, right next to the Wi-Fi module. I mean, that sure is going to make for good reception. Yeah, I think this is the better option, because the Wi-Fi module is like right there, and this driver probably is pretty noisy, and I don't really want to send a ton of interference into that. So I'm going with that for now.
Would this be something you would recommend for a cabinet maker, or would it be too technical or unreliable in a dusty environment?
Whew, that's a tough one. I need screws. Graham, would I recommend this for a cabinet maker, or would it be too technical? I mean, the build, of course, since it is a full DIY build, you've seen what it's like. You've seen the build process. The mechanics isn't all that hard. The firmware configuration, if you've never done it, can be a bit intimidating. Now, the CNC itself, like it's just, when it comes to usability, it's just the same as pretty much any other DIY CNC solution. You have, hold on, you have CAM, which generates some sort of G-code, and the machine reads that. And there's, you know, on this basic level of machines, there's not a whole lot that these machines add. Some have a what's called a tool length sensor. Home switches, if you want to use those, can be an option, but mostly they're really similar. So if you can use one, you can probably use the others as well. Unless you're buying something like from Carbide, which is more of an ecosystem, you know, where you have software and hardware and all that out of a single, or from a single supplier, where stuff kind of works together. But here it's, you know, it's more DIY. So I mean, if you're into that, and if you feel like you can configure a 3D or debug a 3D printer more or less, then yeah, it can be an option too. But keep in mind that this is a DIY project first and foremost. As far as reliability when it comes to dusty environments goes, I mean, you're gonna have to clean off these rails because the bearings are open. There's nothing that keeps like wood shavings and dust from caking up on the bearings. That's just something you will need to keep an eye on. I mean, it wouldn't be my first choice for something that is just constantly cutting wood. But with a bit of maintenance, it should be all right. Will you be mounting the PSU for Duet or steppers? I mean, tape, right? I can drop some tape like right there. So let's do that. Let's mount some tape stuff. Yeah, dust collection. Also, yeah, good point. If you have dust collection in place, then that is obviously going to help a lot. But if you have a dusty environment, then you're still going to have dust settling on the machine and just living on those rails. So something that has a bit more of a, how would I call it, a sealed slide system might be better. And also, yes, thank you for the $5 RAM. All right, so I'm just taping this in place for now because it will be sitting on the desk as well. And all I needed to do is not slide around. And I think double-sided tape is just about perfect for that. Because look, now it's attached. And I'll be doing the same. I know you guys love double-sided tape, right? Yeah, I'll be doing the same with the power supply. And it's also easy. It's easy to mount. It's easy to mount. It's easy to remove and to swap out for a 24-volt supply later. What's the model number for the Knipex? Somewhere on here. It has rubbed off. Oh no, it's 7402180. So it's the power nippers or power side cutters, which you definitely need for like double-sided tape. You can see how gnarly that stuff is. Was there a discussion about aluminum? Yeah, chat is throwing by so fast, and with the super low latency, there's a lot going on, and I feel like I'm expected to answer much more quickly. But can it cut aluminum? It probably can. I mean, I'm hoping it can. That's like my dream goal with this machine. I want this to cut aluminum. Look at how well that tape sticks. Like I can move the machine around on that. Aluminum would be awesome. I don't want to get my hopes up, but Ryan has confirmed that it should be able to do aluminum, and I would be really happy if it does. Maybe with realistically, maybe with a few tricks when it comes to toolpath generation. so that you get less cutting forces, but again, I'm shooting for aluminum. I'm thinking about what to do with this potentiometer, because there's, yeah, it's one of those panel mount types where you can take the knob off and just mount it to like a sheet metal panel, but oh, should I just put it right there? I think so. Power supply? There. I think there looks good. For now, like, we can always rearrange this. Yeah, obviously it's crying for a 3D printed panel. That would be the best option, but panels actually take a surprisingly long amount of time to just CAD up, because you need to get all the hole patterns right. You need to like measure every single dimension for how large these holes need to be, all that. If you're doing it fully in CAD, it does take a surprisingly long amount of time. And then if you also want to have stuff like, there you go.
Hey Thomas, have you
That's good.
referenced the MPCNC V1 engineering forum during this build? It's invaluable. Many solutions, especially if you want to cut aluminum.
Yeah, let me finish this real quick. So the I lost track. Yeah, especially once you do like 3D enclosures where this thing needs to fit in like at a certain depth, and it does get very complex very quickly. So for now, this is going to be my cable management. I know it's janky as hell, but it'll do for now. It'll do for now. Jonathan, thank you for the $5. Have I referenced the MPCNC V1 forum during this build? I have not. I have, because I'm doing this live, and I'm kind of, you know, as you can see right now, I'm kind of doing so many things at the same time. I'm struggling for time. And forums, while they are great, they do sometimes take a bit of time to dig through and find exactly what you're looking for. So at least for the live, I'm going to look up, oh, it's actually labeled on the back. At least for these live builds, I'm not referencing those. I'm just referencing the build guide so far, but we'll have to see. If I do run into something, that might be a good resource. Tape the display near the knob. Yeah, I'm thinking where I can tape it, but it's like, there's no good spot. It might maybe up here, maybe like there, so that I can see it from the side. Here, but that's there. Nah, there. That could work. Two-sided. I don't know. Can the CNC cut carbon fiber? Probably, because carbon fiber doesn't really get cut. It more gets like disintegrated. So carbon fiber, really, you're grinding through it more or less, or you I don't know how to describe it, because you're not, like with aluminum or steel, you actually create a shaving. With carbon fiber, you create dust, or really small particles essentially. So yes, it is cutting, but it's not, it's more similar to cutting PCBs than it is to milling metal. And obviously, I mean, mechanically, there's not much that you need for it as far as machine rigidity or specs goes. But it is just an absolutely massive dust generator. Like your bearings, your lungs, the belts, any crevice where that stuff can get into, it will get into. It's kind of horrible. Water pan for the carbon sheets, yeah, probably helps a lot. Can't you control the speed of that spindle using a PWM signal on the Duet? Victinius is asking. You probably can. You very likely and probably can, because as I pointed out last time, and again, I don't expect you to have seen all these streams, the driver does have a 0 to 10 volt input. And I feel like that is actually for PWM or for speed control. But we do have the potentiometer, and that's, for now, that's fine. Like, for now, we can always upgrade. We can always upgrade later. Not if you strain reliefs it. What am I? The terminal is moving around like it's going to fall off anytime. What terminal? This one? Yeah. It's good. It's good. I mean, there's no load on it. This guy. There's no load on it, right? Okay. Anything else we need to hook up to the Duet? I think that's pretty much it. We've got power in, so that's just 12 volts. We've got Z. No, that's that is the x-axis on X. We've got the z-axis on Y, and we've got the y-axis on Z. That's good. Cool. This thing is all wired up. So we tried that last time. Power supply is working, driver is working. By the way, this is really solid. Driver is working, RPM control is working, so that's good. I think next up we can try powering it up and moving it somehow. Yeah, let me think what happens if I power up the Duet. I don't think there should be anything there that needs reconfiguring to be safe. I think we can go ahead and try that. So let me find a power cord. I've got a whole box of power cords over there. This is literally an IKEA Samla full of power cords. Because every 3D printer and every little thing comes with one. But apparently they don't come with cords that are long enough. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Tassos. Now, whether this is good work or not is up to you guys, obviously, but I'm doing my best, juggling everything at the same time. And I'm enjoying it. I think for me, that's the most important thing, because I think if I'm enjoying what I'm doing, then it's going to be entertaining to watch and hopefully educating as well. The video just skipped as I plugged that in, right? This is plugged in. Duet Wi-Fi is doing something. If it's lit up blue, does that mean it's connected? Looks like it. Let me see what IP address it got. I'm gonna have to log into my router here real quick. Networking. Devices. So the Duet Wi-Fi is actually everything. So the idea is everything is G code. So the Wi-Fi config, it's just G code. The machine config, it's just G codes. And I'm actually not seeing the Duet in here. Okay. So let's go through the config steps. Why are you not connecting? Red to red, blue to bits. What? There's diagrams out there for driving the WS55180, which is, I believe, what I have. Yeah. With PWM from an Arduino, would need tweaking for Duet as the active PWM on the negative side, sinking current. Well, that's just a transistor, right? Okay. Okay. Voltage is there. Yeah, I've still got the one that has the erase button up in the open. This is like one of the first Duet Wi-Fi 2s, and I've already done that. Like, there's the USB. Come on. No. No. Like, there's the SD card, there's the USB, there's reset, and right next to it is erase, which isn't just, let me just erase my default config. No, it literally erases anything on that board. Like, it has no more firmware after that, which means you don't get a web interface, you don't get USB functionality, you have to reflash everything from scratch. And I pressed it once, I'm not going to press it again. The new boards have that as a jumper, so you can't just accidentally press it. The new boards have that as a way where you cannot accidentally do that. So let's actually look at that together. So the Duet Wi-Fi getting started or something. because there is all the documentation on there. Oh, the Wi-Fi module started blinking. Let me recheck if it did connect. So that would be nice. Would save us a lot of time. Let's see if it can move itself off the desk. I don't know. I'm using Firefox. Nope. Is a network and password on the SD? Yes. But it is a new access point that I'm hoping works. Let me just double check. So this is the part that I did not prepare, but I'm hoping that this Wi-Fi is working. It's here. It's connected. No internet. Why is it no internet? Why is where? What is going on with you? Where are you even? Oh, that's why. That's why I'm not seeing it. Pro tip from Tom: if you get yourself a new Wi-Fi access point, remember to plug in the Ethernet cord, because if it doesn't have Ethernet, then you're not going to be seeing the devices that connect to it. Okay. Okay, good thing I checked. That would have been a horrible debugging session. Okay. So I'm hoping now it should be getting a IP address. So check, because it's still doing its blinky thing. Does someone have like the information of what this codage means and what the blinking patterns mean? Mendel 9000, there it is. Okay, 192, 168, 178, 113. So what we're getting, hopefully, come on. That should be it, 113, Mendel 9000. So again, this was in the Mendel 9000. I did give it that machine name that shows up in my router as, hey, this is the DHCP lease that is, oh, but it got connection timed out. Wait, so if it takes G-code, could it be controlled over Octoprint? Yes, I believe there's even a plugin that allows it to be controlled. Wait, are you asking about the Duet, or are you asking about like a CNC in general? Because there is a specific Octoprint version that reset Duet. Which one, the factory reset or the power off? Oh, the light is off. There is a version of Octoprint that, or a mod or a fork or something, that is specifically made for CNC machines. So yes, that does run G-code and just stream it to a CNC. But this specific setup, you can also control it through Octoprint. I believe you can even plug it in just through USB, because the Duet does support it. It does have that micro USB port, which does accept G-code like a normal machine. There may even be, if I remember correctly, an Octoprint option or plugin that lets you control the Duet Wi-Fi over the network, so we don't have to physically plug in Octoprint on a Raspberry Pi into that machine or into that board. So it just connects or it just communicates over the network. But I'm not sure if that's a figment of my mind. Should be constant blue. Okay, so let's try the regular setup procedure here. Getting connected to your Duet. So we did unbox that. We need Yacht. Why is it not called Yeet? I don't know. So Yacht, is there a link? Download the USB drivers and connect. Okay, you're in this with me together. Can you access the Wi-Fi from your phone? The Duet, so yes, I can yeah, the new access point Wi-Fi is now up on my phone. It does have internet. It is connected. And also the fact that my router is seeing the Duet, that also means that there is a connection established. Micro SD card. Oh, I've got a whole bunch over there in my charging bay. Let's use this one. Hoping it's okay if I run this through an USB hub. And I just screwed myself over real good here. This is it's too tight. Doesn't fit. Thankfully though, we do have something like a removal tool, right? Power supply removal tool. Can this fit under here? Yes. There we go. Let's just slightly reposition that. Maybe like that. Why isn't this USB-C? Come on. Is it fun watching me trying to plug in a micro USB connector? Damn good tape. Yeah, this is 3M, like VHB kind of knockoff tape. I think it's so this is Aldi's version of their double sticky tape, but it's genuine 3M, and I think it's just a cheaper version of their VHB. And the VHB, obviously, that is the GoPro tape that is never letting go ever. To install drivers, open Device Manager by pressing Windows R, or by just opening up your Start menu and typing Device Manager. So look for any device with a yellow triangle. Then the driver was successfully installed. Okay, I guess we have... Do we already have a port? We already have a port. Okay. So the reason why we're using Yacht instead of something like Prontoface is that Prontoface, I believe, has... Prontoface sends all the commands in all uppercase. So actually, I mean, I'm literally just reading this off of the Duet Wiki. So yeah, while that does work for G-code, it does not work for Wi-Fi and Wi-Fi connectivity and all that. So Yacht apparently is better that way. Do we need any of these? Yacht, next. Come on. Oh, maybe. That was the interface. That was it. Just didn't have a CSS sheet with it, but it was there. Now, sometimes I just wish this was a Duet Ethernet, because with Ethernet you just plug it in and you get an IP address and you know the connection is there. With Wi-Fi, it's like another step on top. But it was there a second ago. Why are you gone? Come on. Is it trying to connect to the wrong Wi-Fi maybe? I don't know. Where's my Yacht? It's solid blue now. Okay, refresh the page. Read chat. Yeah, chat is like over there, and I'm looking here. It seems to be rebooting constantly. That's not good. Why don't you use Istelcam? I will be using Istelcam as soon as we are looking at cam and not at getting this this board to function. So where's our... No, that's my Fritzbox. Where's my Dozuki? I want my Dozuki instructions. That's that. To close the tab? Nah. Refresh again. It's not a config issue. Have it changed back to 1 year latency? No, I'm just slow with reading chat. Refresh again. Okay, let's try that. Crappy Wi-Fi. Now the Wi-Fi should be like literally right there. You saw the access point. Like this is 2 feet, two meters. Sorry, this is 2 meters of distance that it has to span if it's accessing the right access point. If it's the other one, that is like 2 floors up through concrete floors. So that's not gonna work. But apparently we are on the wrong Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi getting blocked by a power supply case? No, that's far enough off. Like that's enough space. Check the HTTP again. It's still, I mean, the nice thing about you saw my router, the Fritzbox, which is a very popular German modem plus router combo. It assigns the same IP to a device once it's seen it once, just to avoid stuff like this. So let's do it through the official Duet procedure. We're using YAT and we use LF, so that's at the, do we need to configure anything here? Go to terminal menu. That's in the other window, okay, which we can't access now. So serial 3 and baud rate, doesn't matter. That's this, that's great. So terminal, what was it, settings? That's the same window. End of line, if someone's seeing that. Where's my end of line? Looking in the wrong spot. Settings, text settings. Oh, okay. I was looking at the wrong spot. Text settings. There we go. So end of line, we want just line feed. We don't want the carriage return. So line feed for EOL sequence. I guess for both. Yeah, line feed. Okay, okay, okay. So should we be getting, what's this? Should we be getting info from this? Yeah, we did. The line feed send M115. So let's try and send M115. Ah, we're connected. There we go. Speed 1150. It does work. It does work. Ah, chat is going too fast. So let me see. So that's that. Check the status of. I'm gonna jump away from that real quick because I don't know if it's actually gonna reveal like Wi-Fi passwordage or stuff. Oh, okay, okay. So there is the problem. It's still trying to access the upstairs router. And I'm surprised it's getting any sort of a connection here because again, that is like 2 floors up. So that's still the wrong router. ED 2.4 is not what we want. So how do we configure this? We configure this with M587. There must have been 2 lines of that, like that. So we are going to send it M587 S. We're connecting to TP and password subscribe. Okay, lost connection before. Send M552 S1 to connect. Turn off current Wi-Fi mode before we do, so we send S0, and then we send S1. Is connected, is connected, is connected. Okay. So let's do, yep, connected to TP. So let's do M501. That should save it. Heater 1 appears to be overpowered. Yeah. And now, in theory, we should be able to connect to... oh, so good. So good. So good. Yes, I kind of like the Duet series. It's different to what you're used to with a really simple board, but like just going through the instructions like we just went through together, just doing that, it will get you to your goal. It's not like always the easiest process or the most like, oh, you just click one button, but it'll get you there. And like again, I'm tearing out the USB port slightly, not good. Yeah, the Duet is good in that regard. So let's. So as you can see, this is still the config from my Mendel 9000. It has a tool and the bed, and this is on fault. This is off as well. Both are reading 2000 degrees Celsius. The following axes are not home, so we will need to configure this entire board to be, or to know what it's actually driving, to know what it is dealing with. That it doesn't have a heater, it doesn't have an extruder, it doesn't have all that. Dark theme. There's a dark theme for Duet. Wow, I need that. Okay, so for that we actually have the Duet web configuration tool. So we have that, the configurator.reprep-firmware.org. So welcome to the tool. This basically gives you your initial configuration. We're doing custom. Oh, did I back up my config? Should I back up my config? I probably should. So board, Duet Wi-Fi, we got that. We have 2.02. Isn't that counts as 2.03? Printer name, MPCNC. We do want to read the config override. We have a Cartesian machine, Xmin, Xmax is like 5, let's do 500. It's not like it really matters all that much, as long as it has enough. So we did 130, right? Enough room to move from one end to the other, it's okay. Homing speed, homing doesn't matter because we're not going to have end stops at all. Then, okay. Now the only thing that's kind of missing is that it has like a calculator for steps per millimeter for the x-axis, y-axis, spindle, accelerations and stuff, and motor currents, of course, you do set yourself. But obviously for Prusa calculator, for doing the math on steppers and stuff, you know, Prusa calculator is still on point. Ooh, but it doesn't do 256. Okay, let's just stay on. Let's do 32. Nah, let's do 1 and then just do by 256. So we've got regular motors. We've got a 2mm belt pitch, and we've got a 16-tooth pulley, which means 6.25. With no microstepping, but because we're going to be setting this to, why does this want to point? To 256 microstepping, we increase that, so we've got 1600 for our steps per millimeter for X and Y, and we could also reverse the motors if we plug it in backwards. So 1600 here, 1600 there, and then for the Z-axis, we use the next calculator. So we have 1.8, we have a 2mm pitch, which means 100, which means 25,000 something. 25,600 with 256 microstepping. There. Max change speed, we'll just leave these because we can always reconfigure these with G-code later on. Max speed 100, sure, it seems rather slow. 500 millimeters a second is probably a good acceleration for the doesn't it interpolate by itself? I don't think it does. Acceleration of 500 millimeters a second squared is probably good. Motor current, okay. We probably need a bit more. I'm gonna pump this up to 1500. Not sure if I'm gonna be melting my cabling. If I do, then we're gonna have to switch. So these are two motors in parallel. This is just one. So I mean, probably we don't even need that much on the Z-axis. And now we can say, okay, the X-axis is connected to the X-axis drivers. The Y-axis is connected to the Z-axis drivers, right? Yeah. So Y-axis is on the Z-axis, and the Z-axis is on the Y. Okay. Rotki thingo. Doesn't microstepping reduce stepper motor torque? No, it does not. It does not reduce torque by the ever so slightest bit. The difference is, the only difference between like not doing microstepping and doing like a really fine microstepping is that your steps are getting smaller. And the way that stepper motors create or produce torque is by being offset from where you want them to be. So let's say your motor is at 0 and you command it to go to like half a step forward. As long as there is still a torque on it that is greater than what the motor is producing at that point, like it's not going to move. And the further you set that electrical offset to where the motor mechanically is, the more torque it's going to apply. So basically, no, microstepping does not reduce torque, but it reduces incremental torque. Like one microstep is going to produce less torque than one full step. But if you go 256 microsteps, then you're going to be at the exact same torque, at the exact same offset electrically, producing the exact same torque. So all good, no problem. If you use 16x, the driver will interpolate to 2560. That is, yes. Oh, you're right. Yeah, oh, okay. But if you do that, can it actually handle that? So we can do just plain 16x, or we can do 16x on interpolated. So I'm guessing in these cases I should be giving it the steps per millimeter for 16. But if I do 256, I give it the one for 256. Let's try it like that. Okay. 16x has more torque? Nah. I feel like this is native 256, but I don't know if the Trinamics support it. They might. Okay, let's move on here. So extruders, we have no extruder. We remove that. Reduce motor current while idle. Yes, do that. End stops, none. You can use those. Probe, no probe. Moving on. No heated bed, no nozzle. Jawohl. Cooling fans, we have no fans. Wait for temperatures to be reached. I don't know. We have tool number 0. I mean, that's the default anyways. Mesh bed leveling, we're not going to be using that. Enable network. So machine password, we don't have machine password. And it should be, where's my Wi-Fi config? Is the Wi-Fi config in there? Hoping it is. Don't wait for temperature. I mean, we're not going to be doing tool changes, so like, doesn't matter. Where do I set my Wi-Fi? Let's just to be safe. Let's just double. What is it, M578? M587. Let's just put that in here just to be safe. S, it was TP and P, subscribe. And then we have M, M552S1. Just to be safe. It's stored in the Wi-Fi module. Okay, so all you get is this complete bundle. So this is, anything you might, the printer might need, because all of the features all of the features that you run through the graphical web interface basically just run one of these G-codes. So pause, resume, home all, like you can literally put anything into these G-codes that you want, because that's all they are. So download that, saving that, and we can upload that straight into our printer. So can I actually get a system editor? Can I download a backup of these? Oh, I can download them manually. Can I select them all and download? I can download a zip. That's great. Okay. So that's my current config of the Mendel 9000. I'll download that as M9000 backup. And now we can upload files. And we'll just grab the config.zip that we downloaded just a second ago. Uploads all these files. You just uploaded the config file. Would you like to reboot? You do it now. Yes. Now it's rebooting. Now everything is configured, hopefully. So yeah, we'll do the reboot, and we should have a working machine, I'm hoping. Thank you for clearing that up, part-time roaming, for what the 256X means. Yeah, so the difference, like I assumed there, was that with the 256 times configuration in the, well, actually saying 256X, the CPU will send 256 times the pulses to the stepper driver, which means the CPU is doing it. The 16X interpolated means it's only sending it 16 pulses for every full step, half step. And then the drivers interpolate that internally, which does create a bit of lag, but it's not as taxing on the CPU. I'm just trying the 256X1, we'll see. And thank you for the $2 Australian, Tristan. Glad you're liking the series. I'm enjoying having all of you here as well. That is fantastic. Okay, we have a heater fault. Why do we have one heater? Did I not remove all the heaters? Let me see, can we move? We cannot. Insufficient axes homed. Okay, do I need to send it in M92 X0Y0Z0? So basically it's telling it, oh look, you are now at your 0 position. And basically that's the same thing you do when you're when you're setting your work coordinates. So you just snug up to the position and you say, okay, now the tool is touching, tool is 1/8 of an inch, so that's X negative 1.7 something. And then basically that tells the machine, okay, now it's touching, and if I move 1.75 further over, then I'm going to be at 0. And the 0 is not going to be here. 0 is not going to be like in the corner. The 0 is going to be at your workpiece. Still telling me they're not homed. Guys, how do I get this? Because if I hit home X, getting ready to go to do an emergency stop, motor's just turned on. It's moving. It's definitely moving, but it's moving really slowly.
Great job. Keep it up.
That ain't right. He said M453 to define CNC mode. That is a fantastic tip, Kieran. I'll try that. And thank you for the $5 tip, Eric. I'm glad you're liking what I'm doing. So CNC mode, I did not know about that. So let's see. It's already scrolled past. M453. Let's just send random G codes that people tell me in chat. CNC mode selected. Can we move? Insufficient axes homed. So we did G92. I did G92, I think. Oh, I did M92. I did M92. Okay. I did M92. M92 is no good. So reset, that's the reset, not the erase? Yeah. Why they didn't use a V slot or T slot? Because it's, we talked about that last time. I guess someone can recite all the reasons that I speculated. But again, this is not something I designed. This is something that Ryan from V1 Engineering designed, and I'm just building it. Okay, M92 was definitely wrong. So let's try that again. X0, Y0, Z0. I've typed that command so often, but as always, when you've got so many things going on, you kind of forget. It moved, and it's moving in the wrong way. Can you see that twist? No, I can only. You can probably see that twisting itself. Okay, not fantastic, not great. So the x-axis is moving backwards, so I'll have to. Why though? Oh yeah, it totally makes sense. Right. Who told me? Somebody told me. Reverse the polarity. Yes, because. Where can we see that? Because this motor is mounted, this back motor is mounted this way, and this one is mounted the other way. So it actually, yeah, that totally makes sense. So I'm thinking the y-axis, we have one of the motors reversed. Should be okay. Okay, so thankfully we can do that quite easily with this fantastic contraption. Turn off the power first and foremost. That's important. And then we should be able to just flip one of these. That's the right one, right? Yeah. We should be able to just unplug one of the motors, flip the connector, and plug it back in. There we go. So that is reversed now. And hopefully now the two motors don't work against each other anymore. Is it really off? Yeah, it was off. It's good. Also, because it is in parallel, like the other motor is still taking it's still providing a load, so. M564H0 allows movement before homing. Thank you for that tip, Kieran, and thank you for the £2. Gotta spend that money while it's still worth something. Right, so let's try and reconnect to this and move. And so we should be refreshed here, but it's not homed. But I can still move it. Apparently we did something. And it's moving. Let's try 10. Wow. It's dead quiet, like it's. I love dynamic drivers. So good. And I did feel the actual table shaking around because it's, I mean, this is a lot of weight that's being pushed around. So you can maybe see stuff shaking around. It's pretty good. Because I mean, this entire thing is heavy, the tubing is heavy. There's a lot of weight that's being pushed around. Is it stealth chopping? I think it's spread cycle by default. I don't know if those drivers even do stealth chop. But Spread Cycle apparently is loving these motors. It's a bit of a high-pitched whine, but it's good. Trying to make. Okay, let's try the y-axis. Doesn't want me to home for some reason, but I'll take it. You're not moving? Why are you not moving? Let's try Z. Z is working. Z is working. So I can move the Z-axis just fine. Is that actually 5 millimeters? Yeah, it is. It is. Okay, so Z-axis, but Y isn't doing anything. Why though? Why? Why are you not doing anything? Oh. Motor phase A and B may be disconnected. Am I using the wrong drivers? Okay, that is a bit of a mystery for me. Overheat connected to the right port. So we are. Maybe that was it? No. So we are connected to the Z motor as we talked about earlier, and because the Z-axis is actually connected to the Y, that does make sense. So the configuration worked, but it's telling me it may be disconnected. So I can hit move here. It's just telling me it's disconnected, or it may be disconnected. That's kind of bad. Turn it on and off again. Do it support sensorless homing? Who? Not sure if I want to get into that for now. So let's see if all this stuff is actually connected. This is there. So well, that's the Z-axis, but oh, well that makes sense. Like, yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Thanks for your time and creating quality content.
Let's just hook this up here real quick.
It's alive.
It's alive. Yeah, thanks, Paula, for the $5. Yeah, it is alive. It is alive, very much so. Lol for me just not connecting one motor. Why did nobody point this out? Like, you guys should have paid attention. That when I miss to hook up, when I only connect 4 motors, but there's 5, like, you guys don't say there's something wrong, or don't think there's something wrong. Like, come on. I would have expected more. And I also didn't put a zip tie in here, which totally means, or which would have been my reminder, like, hey, maybe you should put something in there. Blaming it on the audience. Of course I blame it on the audience. Like, how many more things am I supposed to multitask here? Okay, but, I mean, let's take something positive away from this. Like, the fact that the Duet is actually telling me, hey, it looks like your motor phase is not connected. Like, I didn't even know that was a possibility. Like, I didn't know that the drivers could do that. Like, wow. I'm liking this board more and more. The more I like it, the more I use it. Okay. Hold up. Chris was asking, do we have enough Z motor current for hole interpolation in aluminum? It's a hole interpolation, basically, where you drill down a hole and you don't just chuck in the drill bit of the correct size and just go plonk plonk, but you actually go you spiral down, basically. I'm thinking that should be possible. His tether motor is not connected, haha. I'm thinking that should be possible with this setup, because there's a lot of like gravity weight on this, and basically you just need the motor power to pull the thing back up. But we'll try. Fusion 360 Helix entry cut. I think that's basically, you can, I mean, any cam tool can do the interpolated hole basically. Let's try the y-axis. Let's maybe refresh the page because we power cycled the board. And let's try the y-axis again. Why? Oh! Do it! Again! Just telling you exactly what's wrong. Attempted to move motors while V in is not in range. Attempted to move motors while I'm getting no power. Like, dude, what are you doing? Let's try that. Y move. X move? X moves. Z moves. Don't want to move it too much. Y doesn't move. Y, oh, Y moves the other way. Negative. Why can I guess I'm at like the wrong end of Y because I can move negative amounts but not positive. Okay. There's got to be an option to allow me to go into the negative positions. So one motor is still flipped, which means cut the power, flip one of these motor connectors, and then power the thing back up. So let's try that again. Y plus, okay. So now they're moving in the exact wrong direction, right? Because that's Y positive, but I'm hitting Y negative. So if I flip both, then we should have this axis corrected again. So let me put this power cord up here so we don't forget. Oh, but I can't flip that one there because it's the wrong connector. Okay, so let's reflip these. Flip this one here. Ow. Ow, that took some skin off. Flip this one here. And yes, DuPont into these JSTs is not fantastic, but it works for now. I should also be using different motors that don't have like the janky self-crimped quad DuPont, but have the actual connectors like the one up here. But, you know. Yeah. Flip all the things. Flipping in software would be too easy. Yeah, well, I mean, do I get to? The thing is, so, I mean, the one gripe that I have with Duet is that the initial config is pretty easy. Like you use the web tool that we just went through, but if you want to change anything, you either have to rerun the web tool and like download a completely new config. But as soon as you've made like one single custom config change, like I set my, I don't know, my PID in some specific way and you didn't put that in config override, or you've set up some other thing, then you can't really use the web tool anymore because it always generates like that fixed same setup that doesn't allow you to step very far out of what it's trying to do. So yes, now we're moving in the right way. Okay, so the reason why it's not letting me move, oh, okay, well that's easy enough. The reason why it's not letting me move further than this is because we set it to 500 as a maximum. So that's easy enough. I'm just setting it roughly to what I think the positioning is. So this is like 250. And then the Z is at like, if I had some, oh yeah, I have something to measure. So let me say this is if you have like a 10 millimeter tool stick out at 70. So we just set this to 70. Okay, so now we should be able to move this machine around as much as we want. X, 100, another 100, perfect. Y, plus 100. Oh, this cable is kind of in the way. Whew! Whew, that is tight. That is... There's like 3 millimeters of space in here. Okay. I guessed well. I guessed my distancing well. I turned software and stops off. Yes, I'll have to find the G-code for that. And I guess we can test the... hold on, I'll move the tool a bit closer to you guys. Like there. And then we can test the Z-axis and do 25. Somebody said I should loop this lead screw. It's a bit squeaky, like just a bit, but it's moving. It is moving. Oh, now of course we have the electronics wall there, so you guys again can't see anything. Thankfully this thing is just on a tripod which I can move. Ha! Cheating. Okay, so that's at 0. That's good. We have full movement, full unrestricted movement. Awesome. M564S0H0, move beyond limits, move before homing. Thank you for that tip. I'm guessing if I just... So the way this should work, because we did enable config override, M564 S0H0 and then do an M501. Is it M501? Why is it telling me overpowered? Might have some old configs in there. Then that should be it, right? Thank you for the $2, Kieran, and thank you for that tip. That tip was invaluable. Saved me a lot of time. All right, M500. Did I do M500? Yeah. God. Sorry. Okay, M500 it is. I'll recheck all this stuff tomorrow morning. But for now, this is going to be it for this stream. We did what I promised. We did the wiring very professionally. We do have like the best wiring job ever. There is like nothing built into this design to do any sort of cable management other than the option to run some cables through these tubes, but really they're just going to be at the other end where there's the same issue. Yeah, it works, it runs if it's not skipping steps. That's fantastic. Actually, let's do one more thing. Let's try how, let's move this up slightly. Let's see how much torque this thing has. It's going to be skipping steps at some point, but if I... Oh, no, that's the wrong axis. That's the wrong direction again. I wanted to do that and then this. Okay, so that is... I mean, kinda, right? Holding torque is pretty good, but dynamic torque is not really great. It should be good for some light cutting, but I'm gonna have to do some reconfiguration with the steppers. And actually, these Y splitters are actually not getting all that warm, so I feel like I can push a bit more current out. The drivers are super cool, so I can definitely give this some more juice, some more current, and that should help with the. Oh yeah, so now we're in power down mode. This is 30% torque, which means it's not like got a whole lot of holding torque, but. I'm going to do that tomorrow morning before we come back and do some cam setup and some actual cutting tomorrow at 7 p.m. again. I want to say thank you all for being here. Thank you all for everyone who joined in. Thanks for everyone who sent in a tip or a chat or a helpful message. That was a lot of fun. Low latency, YouTube, I love you. And guys, I love you too for being here and joining me on this journey to get an MPCNC up. I'm excited to get this thing printing. Well, I always say printing. I'm excited to get this thing cutting because I do want a big CNC like this, which is why I built it. And you guys can be here on the journey as well. And I will see you again tomorrow when we will be actually setting up a cam tool. I think I'll be using Cam, and we're going to be making some cuts. I'll have you guys, I'll figure out a way to have you guys decide what we cut, but that's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be exciting. Have a nice day, evening, whatever, wherever you are, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.